Seven hells. Okay, so that just happened. I have finished the 2.7 main story. I've slept on it. And yeah, wow, where do I even begin? There is like 100 threads to pull from in all directions, and I'm not sure I know how to give a very lengthy story patch like 2.7 its proper justice, but I will try in my own way. Top level thoughts. Very, very good. I can see the argument or debate from a lot of people as more and more finish this story patch for this being the pinnacle story patch in Wuthering Waves, like full stop actually. Like it's just for its overall level of pure quality, especially for the length of the story, which comes in at around 6 to 7 hours for me. It's really long, but it's really worth it. Now, I have my gripes, I have my positives, and there is negatives, but just like TLDR, if you're here just for the short version, this is about the best you're possibly gonna get in terms of a finale story. Like, for a gacha game, wrapping up the main plot that started in 2.0 while leaving like plenty of breadcrumbs and tidbits to follow up lore-wise, hints for future patches at the same time, and including basically every single goddamn character, and even some extras on the side, like Kelcharo, just a aura farm in the background. Good for you, buddy. And for the most part, giving them all fairly efficient screen time so that they mostly don't feel too shoehorned in, and as such, like the finale wasn't just like Rover's finale, it was like the entire cast's finale. So the way I want to structure this video is like simply in my own way. I won't deep dive everything, all the moments, all the characters. I'm going to keep this fairly casual as I always do. So I do hope people enjoy listening to it. Obviously, you can probably see the wrong time of whatever the video ends up being, but this video is going to be really, really long. There will be timestamps, best I can, if you are interested in seeing specific things. But obviously, I do hope people will stick around to hear the context if you are interested in my thoughts, because without at least the very lengthy ramp up that I'm about to give you, that's going to run a few minutes in a moment, a lot of my thoughts probably just won't land the same. So before we get started though, Rovers, welcome back to the channel. My name is Zeno, and let's talk about the finale of Rinacita. And remember, if you like what I do here, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I also cover other gacha games like Zenless Zone Zero. And let's just jump into it, shall we? Alright, so like I mentioned, let's set up some background first. So stick with me here if you can, because there is a certain structure to this, and trust me, it does pay off and lead to something. So I don't generally do story reviews or impressions often on the channel, actually. I've done this maybe twice before. Once for 2.2 in Carthathia's story, mostly just because it simply blew me away, and I was so very new to WuWa at the time, and now I have a very unhealthy obsession with her character that bleeds into real life, and we're really not ready to have that conversation with the therapist yet. And the other time was Frolova's story arc, which resulted in me summoning for the character, which I never wanted, simply to reward Kuro because I thought they made a really goddamn good story. Now, the reason I haven't done this or I haven't discussed these stories or shared my thoughts very often is because half the time I feel like I don't personally add too much to the conversation just because I'm so casual. And what I mean by that also is because I often have to go research, like what the heck just happened? I've said this before, but I am sadly a smooth brain in the form of like, I need help understanding a lot of the major plot points, the lore drops, the revelations, the twists and turns, and often I simply do not catch everything. And as I am also a very emotional gamer, like I cry a lot when I'm excited, when I'm sad, I audibly laugh out loud, when I get angry, when bad things happen, I really get sucked into things like very easily, even when it's like simple tropes and cliches and stories. It's also why I struggle to stream non-pure gameplay related things, and why I've basically just stopped at all. I can't get emotionally involved in the story and drama of what's like unfolding on the screen if I have to manage my attention to random people on the side or just be an actor for like video's sake. One thing I've also noticed about myself in RPGs and stories and games in particular is that as I have gotten older, and especially this year as well, as the year has progressed and gone on, I tend to just enjoy things for what they are. My life is, I've mentioned this previously in another video, but my life is simply too stressful IRL and I just don't talk about it. So when I sit down to play these games and I get invested into these worlds and these stories and the characters, and I need that stress relief in my limited downtime after work or on my days off. So when I have major story complaints or things that start to bug me, it generally reveals to me personally that it slipped past that casual enjoyment for what it is phase. And it means it really is something that annoys me in whatever way it does. Again, follow me here. This will make sense in a moment. Trust me, guys. One thing I have not really talked about on the channel regarding WuWa's story this year, as it's become increasingly obvious patch after patch, is the fact that every story patch is just there to sell you the new character. Now, that's both a hot and a cold take. Like, every patch and every single gacha game on the market is designed to sell you the character. Like, WuWa's no different. It's never been any different. And while I'll admit, even though I have enjoyed thoroughly every story this year, even some of the weaker, more cliche or trope-heavy ones, and also 90% of every story patch does move the main plot forward itself, or at least it's given it fairly important context and lore to the world. The last few patches in particular, starting with Pavlova to Lupa to Augusta to Yuno, was really hitting home the idea, again, to me personally, that this patch is just like a full-on simp fest to sell you the unit. And once the patch goes away, the character probably goes away. Now, I know what you're probably going to say. Yes, lore and story-wise, most of the time, this does actually make sense. I won't pretend like it doesn't, but to me, this is like a writing team's choice and job to write like this, and a dev's choice to barely ever do callbacks to the rest of the cast. You can justify it any way that we want to, whether it makes sense or not in the context of the world that they have created. And I know this doesn't mean a lot to everyone, and even then, a lot will disagree with me, and that's fine. But to me, when I invest into your world, your characters, your story, your locations that are built around them, my personal money into the game, my playtime, which is now over like 500 hours this year, since January between PC and now PS5 console, I like to think that whoever I choose to invest in, or summon for, build up, or fall in love with, I get to see them sometimes after their patch ends at the like barest minimum, unless it's like something super specific lore-wise that stops that from happening. I also recognize, and I'm super blessed and lucky in the fact that Heya completely stole my heart in 2.2, and that she is such a pivotal driving force in the entire story of this year, that I've gotten to see her time and time again. Like, that is not lost on me. So why do I bring all of this up, especially in the finale of Rinacita? Well, here's what it leads to. Here's the thing. I was genuinely so very worried that Kuro had written and backed themselves into a corner, especially as the last few patches of non-stop selective writing to boost banners have dictated to me, that come the finale of this story arc between Reguna and Septimont and Rinacita as a whole, that throwing every single goddamn character under the sun in the last year into a single story patch, from the 1.x characters like with the Black Shores gang, the entire 2.0 cast, and some NPCs as well, and to new resonators in Galbrena and Samurai Qui-Gon Jinn to further promote the idea of summonable banners in the patch that it releases in. This was going to be an absolute shit show of the highest magnitude. I genuinely was worried. I was very anxious to see how Kuro would not only deliver a finale to a very long story arc, but give each character on screen enough time to justify their place on said screen, in the first place, while also introducing new summonable characters, bringing back old villains in the Fractsidus, brand new ones in their leader, which was kind of cool, enough fresh gameplay, story moments, cutscenes, cinematics, and just like good story pacing to sustain and defend a 6 to 7 hour long main story runtime for a gacha game in a single patch. Now, like I alluded to at the top, I think they did it. I think this is the best finale you're gonna possibly get in the context of a gacha game story for a full year-long narrative. It is absolutely not all perfect, and I do think there is actually some even pacing issues. I mean, in the part where you are learning Galbrena's backstory from her chimera, just for an example's sake, right? But overall, man, like, by the ending cutscenes, with the characters going up against the Threnodian, the music is kicking in, the stakes are at the highest, everybody is giving it their all, flashy, fast-paced combat, and just, I've watched this back like 2 or 3 times. I was crying happy tears, man, like, to see them all together like that. All these characters we've grown to love in different ways, combat the big bad in a classic good versus evil. Like I mentioned previously, I just really enjoyed it for what it was, and I had a goddamn blast doing it. And no matter where WuWa goes from here, closing out the end of this year, or whatever the next region holds for us, I am going to now remember this moment really fondly as a super strong positive to the end of this story arc, kind of like the ending of 2.2 with Cardathea. I'm going to remember that all of the characters came together. They all had roles to play, small scenes each, voice dialogue. They all felt like they fit into the finale and they belonged. Their place was like fairly earned. And when that final fight was going on, like, Jesus, the Rinacita Avengers fucking assemble, bruh. It was as hype as it can get. And it was done as well as it could be. Again, for the context of the game being a live service gacha story. One thing about stories is sometimes the journey itself is more important or just more fun overall than the ending, the finale. Sometimes the finale can actually completely botch an otherwise good journey by leaving us on a sour note, and then the final thing that we remember isn't always the good before, it's the bad at the end. However, sometimes a good ending can also accomplish the opposite. It can wash away all the negatives we have, the gripes and the fears, and just a solid, well-told and well-acted, well-presented finale can sell the full product alone as it sticks the landing. And we can look back at this in hindsight at a later date with positive feelings, emotions, and just a nice smile on our face. And that's what I think this finale did. No matter where you stand in terms of issues with the game, if you are invested into it, like even slightly in some of the characters in the story, I would say the amount of people that probably walk away from this finale chapter and that they're still somehow upset or sad and angry will be very few and far between. Alright, so let's start breaking down some stuff now, even though we're like nearly 15 minutes into this video. Let's get into some more concrete details. One of the negative things in terms of characters fitting in to this finale and earning their place, Samurai Qui-Gon Jinn. I lied. Not every character fits in here. He might be the major exception to this rule, actually, considering the vast array of characters that joined us. I don't know how to feel about this character. I think he himself is really freaking cool, actually. And by the way, he is blind, and his liberation is a giant slash across the screen where it goes black and white. I called this shit months ago, actually, to the T, even before pre-release information was available, like, which is really funny. Someone on YouTube went back to a comment I made and responded saying, "Oh my god, you called this basically spot on." So I appreciate you, by the way. So the idea that, like, off screen, He went to where we left Fenrico, the prior Primus, who had sacrificed himself to help stem off the dark tide, and obtained the Lantern Relic, and just comes to our aid in a very cliche way out of nowhere with zero build-up. Again, off screen. Not the biggest fan of that. That's actually a major criticism with this character's involvement and their first introduction to us. They could have really just had a 5-minute cutscene prior to this where we play as him, as we actually get to play as him later on anyway when we face Scar, as why he's in Septimont in the first place, where we are going through that underground section when we're about to reach Chadrico, and we can see a basic scene where he gives it to us as the power is nearly fully out, the relic, and he can't hold on any longer. It could have been like a 5-minute small section. You battle a few basic enemies, have a small conversation. Just give us the most minor build-up to make it just like a little bit more believable. I mean, we have a story quest releasing soon in the patch that covers Samurai Qui-Gon Jinn, but so who knows? Maybe some of that's in there, but by then I don't really think a lot of us will care too much about what happened prior because we already know the ending. Anyway, that's probably like my biggest complaint, actually. A complete lack up of build-up to this introduction. And again, while the character I think actually seems pretty damn cool, we could have just met him in passing a long time ago, maybe after Filova's patch, just to help with the believability a little. Also, side note for those still unaware, he is going to be Galbrena's best in slot option when he releases. So do prepare for that. Although, luckily, Galbrena seems very strong with a ton of options, actually. Speaking of, perfect segue into Galbrena. What do I think of Little Miss Bayonetta Devil May Cry? Okay, yeah, so we pretty much knew she was really Angel, Augusta's childhood friend who got swallowed by the dark tide and was so strong she ended up turning it into her power and consuming it, like, you know, more or less anyway. The fact that in the final cutscene, she also has like a costume change to like a white angel-like outfit just to like show off the two cliche trope sides of like angel and demon. It was really sick, actually. I audibly shouted at the screen. I was like, oh my God, she's in white. Like, kind of a shame. There's no free like white version of her outfit. People would have actually loved that. Admittedly, I am struggling to not summon this character. She's so fucking hot. Her abs and stomach is killing me. Oh my God. That, and I'm a massive Devil May Cry fan for like over 20 years since the first game. Why am I so old? I'm gonna die soon. Holy shit. She is so literally beyond DMC coded. It's insane. Like, there's so many little nods and it's just really cool. Now, as for her introduction, I'm not gonna lie. I said this when I streamed and we got her initial teaser a few patches ago at the end of one of the dev streams. If she kills Cardathea, my Wuthering Waves wife, it is on sight with this woman. No matter how hot she is, no matter how cool she is, what she does, she's instantly my public enemy number one. Like, I am so really glad and happy that her whole shtick of killing Cardathea was fake. Although, let's be expected. It was kind of obvious something was at play here anyway. Like, she's a really cool character overall. And she also gets really cool, unique gameplay sections where we can stare for as long as we like at her boobs. Focus, goddammit. She has really unique first-person combat sequence like a damn Doom game. And yeah, okay, it's kind of actually really janky, but it's kind of sick. They tried something new and different. We get to fight a few enemies and do like a few basic combos in the first person. I appreciate that some damn intern at Kuro HQ said, hey boss, I know the patch launches in like a week. I have this idea for an FPS mode for part of Galbrena's story. I can make this work, trust me. And John Kuro said, screw it, you have a week until it's live, throw it in. I appreciate that. It was kind of neat. But as for Galbrena as an overall character though, considering this is her very first appearance, and it's also the goddamn finale, I will say, due to the lengthy runtime of the story, there was more than enough time to build up to her personality and her backstory and her motives, her combat ability. There was also tons of gameplay involving her to help sell the character as well. I enjoyed her more than I thought I would, because we actually had a lot of time to appreciate Galbrena in full. I will say, also lore-wise, even though I am not a lore guy, but with how broken her forte abilities and being able to like devour tacit discords, including really powerful ones, and use of some of their skills, and her thing with Chimera, like surely lore-wise, outside of like Rover, Cardathea, maybe Jinsey, she must be like the strongest resonator we've encountered. Like, this bitch is broken. Like, if she can contain all the powers and feed Chimera the TDs that he needs, the sky is the limit with this woman, especially if she's potentially like conquered her overclocking. She has wicked potential. And as also the final scenes of the story, Rover and Alto give her the Blackshaw's flower to offer her a place with them, or at least like mark her as one of theirs if she ever needs help. She'll definitely be back again in future stories, and I hope really sooner than later, actually. I also would be really nice if we had gotten that one-on-one with Augusta where she promised she'd sit down and have that chat in the story prior, especially considering how close they were as kids. What else? Okay, Abby. Wow. We finally got like a name drop right at the end when the Threnodian was getting beat up with all the chains. Abraxas. Now, hold up, like I tend to forget we still know basically freaking nothing about Abby's stall. Seeing a Threnodian say, "Why did you betray us, Abraxas?" And we didn't even follow up with this at the ending of the story at all. I was like, all right, what the fuck? Was Abby actually an ally or mega powerful like Threnodian in the past? We get teased once again about Abby, but please, God, just give us more concrete answers soon in the next region. The login screen. That was kind of cool. That was present in one of the Rover scenes. I was like, oh my God, like this is not expected, but really damn cool. Maybe it's like a callback to where a Rover in the past decided to try and change fate and start all over again. Hence why when we log in, it's them like sitting on the rock. Maybe something like that. Fractsidus. Let's talk about the Fractsidus. Scar. It's nice to see him fully back, finally. I will admit though, I never had a massive like hard-on for Scar like most people did in the past. Also mostly because it was just so long ago that until recently when we realized that he had escaped and was with Cristoforo, I kind of just assumed they had forgotten his role in the story. His opening act in 1.0 was so early in WuWa's overall story. To just bring him back proper to even fight against in the finale, it was kind of funny to me, actually. More importantly though, another Fractsidus member, Frolova. Another I'm not sure how I feel moment about her return. Even if it's minor, and at the very finale she shared some scenes with Scar and Cristoforo, but I don't know, man. I don't want to say it feels cheap or like totally invalid even lore-wise. We all kind of came to the general consensus, because Pavlova has an immortal body, that when she kind of merged with the Lost Beyond, she was kind of just chilling there, and she can probably leave if she wanted to, but it kind of defeats the whole emotional weight of the ending of that story arc, where if you remember the final scenes, like the music hits, she's playing her violin, she says she's finally home as her friends and family envelop her, and she cries. I fucking cried. Like, that was really touching, and it was a really heavy moment for her and for me and for the audience, and all of us that grew to care for her in just whatever weird ways that we care for Frolova. To just bring her back very, very briefly was like, okay. They do kind of explain that the Threnodian's power, I think it wasn't enough to sustain the Lost Beyond anymore. And in her final scenes, she's basically, at least from what I understood it meant, or what I took away from it, is she's walked away from the Fractsidus. Like, she says goodbye. And she's like, maybe I will do my own thing now. But, yeah, I don't know. When I saw her pop up, I was like, God damn it. Like, I don't really care how it works narratively. It made that arc now in retrospective feel kind of like not as emotional or impactful. I don't know. I would have loved to see her in the future, but not quite yet. Maybe have her come back in a different way, like down the line when we've really missed her and she's been gone a while. Maybe Rover has to go see her because we needed her powers specifically for like another plot point. We had to work together again maybe, but like, then we could have brought her back, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm harping on too much about this, but it just kind of stung a little bit. Cristoforo, God, fucking damn it, Cristoforo. I will say, Kuro has made a great villain in him, because I hate him so damn much. He's so good at being a pretentious asshole and stirring up trouble that I'm like, damn, I like you as a villain purely because I hate your character so much. That's when I was like, all right, you're a decently well-written villain character. Because if I was left alone in a room with him, I'd be throwing hands. Like, bro, this man needs to die or needs to be stopped. Like, oh my god. The leader of the Fractsidus, even if it was like some form of like clone form or mask or whatever, he's kind of cool. His fight scene with Galbrena was like incredible, super flashy, loved it, like the whole cinematic thing. Also, that ending shot of Galbrena was totally a DMC reference, by the way, saying jackpot, which is like what Dante and Virgil do, or something similar to jackpot. I don't have too much to say on him. He speaks incredibly slowly though, like oh my god, someone needs to turn the dial up. We don't know enough, but it was nice to finally see the actual leader of the big bad crew rock up in the finale, so I'll definitely give him that. He did have one line at the end, just after we beat the Threnodian, where he said to Rover, "We used to be your waystones." So obviously in the past Rover life, like they were all friends or knew each other or something and worked together. So there's more evidence there to support that theory, which has been hinted to in the past. Other characters, Avidius. Oh, I nearly forgot him. Oh my god. His appearance at first actually kind of confused me, because the last time we checked in on him, he was underground in like Tetragon or whatever it is, temple in Yuno's story, and he was having like a mini meltdown because he was coming to terms with the fact he was a fake person, written into Cristoforo's script, and nothing was real or mattered. And now he's just kind of back, all cheerful in the beginning, helping people evacuate. And I was like, damn, I do kind of like this character. The idea of him not being a real person, but like making his own memories and coming to terms with like his, well, lack of past and deciding his own fate and future. I'm like, yes, right there, Kuro, for fuck's sake, like that is a perfect 4-star. We need more 4 stars right there. Make him a 4-star. Of course, now I know why not. He dies. Tragically. Very sadly, in fact. I really felt bad for Avidius. Like, when we had to fight him as the Dark Tide corrupted and overtook him, I was like, man. I actually genuinely feel bad for this one. Like, tragic character arc. Well told, though, I will admit. Like, when we first met him back in Augusta's story arc and that realization, I think it was called Main's Deep, that it wasn't real and that he was fake. And that like somber goodbye as we said to him, like, we'll continue his fight, and we planted his spear in the ground after we beat him. I'm like, that's a sad one. So like, shout out to your boy Avidius. Like, that's actually a sad death. Outside that, in the final scenes, after we take down the Threnodian, the idea that the gem thing that we gave to the Blackshaws to lock away and analyze, like that Galbrena took, it wasn't the complete one. And the Fractsidus somehow off screen probably took some of that too. Kind of annoyingly and really dumb. Like, just let us have the goddamn victory. Why is there always gotta be some caveat to this? To just leave the thread open to pull out later. No, we beat the damn thing. Leave it at this. Move the on from Rinacita's Threnodians. I'm kind of over this. Go away. Like, although Alto did mention in passing the ways that Rinacita has made echoes into tools to use. Maybe we can do something with the Threnodian powers. And look, I don't know, maybe that's what Abby is, a transformed Threnodian for like personal use for the rover. I don't know. I'm spitballing, but it's something to think about. Anyway, this video is well long enough, and there's so much I didn't even mention in terms of like the actual plot itself, how it unfolded, the build-up and the pacing of everything else in between, but I think I can fairly and safely leave it there. I enjoyed 2.7's finale immensely. Outside of obviously a few gripes and a few negatives, again, I will reinstate, this is about the best finale a gacha games narrative can have, with incorporating all of the main cast for the last 10 plus months, older characters and more, introducing 2 new resonators, and with some of the banners that are going live or coming soon. I enjoyed this for what it was, which was a very fun final ride with these characters. I will be, admittedly, very, very upset when we finally and officially move on to the next region and start like the new cast of characters. And we might not see a lot of the Rinacitas again, either at all or just for a super long time, because Kuro really doesn't do a good job of reusing and revisiting old characters enough. This is actually like a major complaint I have. I really hope they rectify this. This is actually one thing Genshin Impact does very good with. They bring back older characters, even though some don't have banners for 8 months or at all, and they still bring them back just for fun in side events or quests and little things. I need Kuro, for my personal sake, to consider this moving forward. Like, I really hope they do. Like, this cast of characters has been such a blessing to grow, to like and love and respect and just endure their stories. As I said, I'm an emotional gamer. I am personally gonna have a really hard time now adjusting to another whole new cast if they just get thrown away semi-permanently like the 1.x cast was. And I'm glad I actually never got that invested into the 1.x cast myself, or I really liked that many of them on the levels that I do to the 2.x cast, outside of characters like Chun-Li or Shorekeeper. Because, like, again, as I mentioned at the top, I'm an emotional gamer. I get invested even at the simplest and most like cliche tropes and stories. So to get this invested this year myself into Wuthering Waves, and to have such a wonderful payoff for the most part in the finale, and just to say, okay, well, goodbye forever. It's gonna really suck, and it's gonna be very bittersweet, but that just might be a personal thing. TLDR 2.7, the finale of Rinacita. Was it worth it, and did it hit well? I think it did. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how Kuro finishes out the year and where Rover and the crew go next. With that all being said, this was a lot of work. So I really hope you guys enjoyed listening and watching, and I hope you guys are having a fan-freaking-tastic rest of the day. And as always, I'm going to sleep now. My name is Zeno, and you guys take care now. I'm tired. Cheeky moldy, cheeky moldy. Oh, cheeky moldy, cheeky moldy. Oh, god damn it! Understandable, have a nice day. Cheeky moldy, cheeky moldy. Oh, god damn it. No. Blow me, please. 3 cheeky Maltese, cheeky Maltese. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit, am I recording? Oh god. Oh no. Oh no. That's 3 more. Wait, what? Oh god. Oh god. Oh god, I can't build Galbrena. I'm not in the mood. Why did I do this? Oh god. Oh shit. Oh my fucking god, I got it. Are you kidding me right now? Ah, shit. Here we go again. That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh crap, what do I do now?